Tom is one of my favorite editors in the world to work with. That a lot of times, like I had problems working on some humor books back in the day with editors, because the problem is with artists, most editors know they can't draw. But with writers, every editor thinks they can write. So you're constantly, so some guys are going to start rewriting their work a lot,
right,
or give you constant suggestions. What if the line goes here? What if the line goes there? And the difference is, with some editors, I'm like, yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. With Tom, whenever he gives me a note, I'm like, that's a really good note. I'm gonna, yeah, I should change that. I should tweak that, or that line isn't working there. I had problems with this humor book where I had a editor whose philosophy was there should be something funny in every panel. And for something to be funny, you need context. You need a build-up, a setup, payoff, reaction shot. You know, like for example, the joke isn't Wile E. Coyote falling off the cliff. The joke is also the moment before Wile E. Coyote falls off the cliff. The realization that Wile E. Coyote is going to fall off the cliff for the 1000th time. Then, you know, there's a whole build-up and flow and rhythm, and you also want to put something in there that's new, that you haven't seen before, that's a bit of a payoff. So there's a whole structure, just the same way you'd have a suspense moment. Then this one editor's philosophy is every panel should make me laugh. And he'd constantly rewrite me and tweak me, and I would have these just flat out arguments with him and yelling with each other. And, no, you have to let me tell my story. It's different with every editor. Every editor is a different company in and of themselves. People say, are you a DC guy or a Marvel guy? And part of you wants to say, I'm a Tom Brevoort guy. I will work on any book that Tom edits, whatever company Tom's at. Or Steve Wacker. I love working with Steve. You put Steve in, I've worked with Steve at DC, and I'll work with Steve at Marvel. I find that you have these comfort zones. You see editors have stables of guys that they like working with. And it's the same thing on the flip side with artists and writers. We have editors we like working with, that we think we produce our best work for, and that help us not just with our craft, but another thing an editor does is they look after you professionally and after your career. They want to make sure they move you onto the right projects, that it's a step up, that they're helping you as a commodity. Because as much as Marvel wants to promote Spider-Man, they want to promote me. So that my name means something when it's on a solicit. So Sean's name means something when it's on a solicit, that it can help them move more units. So it's equally important for them to help my career. And something that I appreciate with my editors that I like working with is honesty. And that goes the other side both ways. If an editor asks you a question, can you make this deadline? They don't want to hear a fairy tale. They don't want to hear what they want to hear. I'll get that tomorrow. No, they want a realistic assessment so they can stay on their schedules. And on the flip side, you want honesty from your editor. If they know there's going to be a change in your book, that you as the writer or artist is going to be moved out, and they're going to try a new creative change, you want to know so you can plan for your next assignment. That when you have that trust, that's an editor you enjoy working with. There is an editor that I avoided like the plague at Marvel. I'm not going to say who they are. You know, I can say they're not working in the industry right now, so that's safe. But I'm still not going to say who they are. But they hated telling people they were fired. And they would have their assistant do it, or they'd wait till they didn't get the person and leave it on their machine. And there was even one case where they faxed the person they were fired. Yeah, because they didn't like that part of the job, that human interaction. And that's an editor I never wanted to work with. Even when they were glad handing me like, oh, we want you to come work on that. Because I knew at some point in the relationship, you're going to reach that. And I've worked for editors who've come out and told me, there's a policy change. There's a political change. And I'm going to have to change up this book. In 3 months, you're going to be gone. And I want you to know that. I'm taking you behind the barn and I'm shooting you. But I want you to know that. But as a professional, you know, that's useful. And that's a good relationship with an editor. That's a really good relationship when you know that you can trust them for that kind of stuff. Because they have to feed babies, I don't. But yeah, but that's all. It's also business.
You know, there's one editor who also not in the business anymore,
who never fired anybody. He would just hire somebody new. And the artist who had the job would find out because somebody said, hey, you're not in the new solicitation. And here they're refusing work for another editor because they're busy, not knowing that all along they're no longer busy.
There's a wonderful editor at Marvel who just friend to the people, friend to the common man. And this was in the 90s when comics were selling like crazy. And any single person who walked into that office, he would give them a job. And because of that, when Don Daly, and I love him, and he's great, in the Punisher office, but that's why the Punisher status quo didn't change during the 90s. Because he had 10 years of Punisher stories with Punisher and Microchip doing adventures in their status quo. And if he ever changed it, he'd hurt that like 10 years worth of stories. And when they let him go, during one of the great purges at Marvel, when they fired a lot of people, they opened up all his drawers and they were like, oh my God. This guy had covers and art. He could have done Punisher and Punisher summer specials and winter specials, annuals till the end of time.
And they did.
And they did. They did. And people bought them and they did well. And that was a lot of times fans ask, why didn't you just do it ahead of time? Why didn't you have all 7 issues of Civil War in the drawer? That's why. you don't do that. There's a freshness. There's a now. Do you guys like that? Like when you're, do you ever have those questions? Like, why didn't I just get these 4 scripts? Like
sometimes, yeah. I mean, it would certainly help to know where the story is going. I like the idea of lead time. At the same time, it would be nice to not have to feel like you're underly done all the time when you're doing a comic, but sometimes that's not always possible. Like we're getting ready to do a crossover with Action and with Superman and World of New Krypton. It's a 2-issue crossover, and I know that artwork is being drawn. I'm just finishing an issue of Supergirl now before I even start the next issue, which is the first part of the crossover that we're doing. But I know that whoever else is, I don't even know who's working on either of the books anymore. No, I just.
But they're all great. And you should all buy them.
Yes, absolutely. No, they're all really. I mean, other than the writers, I don't know who's drawing the books except for Renato Geddes on Action and Pete Woods on Superman. I think they've had like
Pete Woods is awesome.
Pete Woods is a psycho.
I want to steal him back.
Pete Woods, like if you look at World of New Krypton, all of the backgrounds are done in SketchUp. So he has designed Krypton, New Krypton. Everything, every building, every port, everything is Pete he'll send me stuff like constantly, and you're just like, okay, I know he's penciling and inking this book. Where the hell does he get the time to design an entire city? Like fully rendered, entire Kandor. Wow. Fully rendered in SketchUp.
If you guys haven't seen Pete Woods' artwork, you gotta do yourself to go out and find it.
That's the thing. You really appreciate what he's doing on the book. Like, I wish that they would show the black and whites because that's where you really get an appreciation for what he's doing.